Am I the a-hole for calling my father's wife a creep? My 32F father, 60s, has been married to Sasha, fake name, 40s, for almost a decade. I was already an adult when they started seeing each other, so I never had much of a relationship with her. That said, Sasha was nice and thoughtful, though a bit annoying at times, and I never had any problems with her. I now have a husband, 34M, and 2 kids, a son, 9M, and a daughter, 4F. Sasha is very fond of my children, especially my daughter. That became very suffocating pretty quickly, so we started setting some boundaries. She never overstepped them. In January, my father and Sasha decided to go on a trip to Disney World and invited us to join them. We decided to go to celebrate our son's 9th birthday. I quickly regretted coming along. Sasha spent the entire trip fussing over my daughter in ways that overstepped almost every boundary we had set. Examples include, Sasha bought mini ears and a tiara. She wanted me to buy my daughter an identical one so they could match. My daughter did not like the tiara, so I bought her a Donald Duck hat instead. Sasha got her the tiara anyway and was upset that she did not want to wear it. My father and Sasha went shopping between parks. I told them not to buy my kids anything, as we still had shopping to do and did not want to risk making our bags too heavy. Still, Sasha returned with 5 bags of clothing for my daughter and 2 for my son, saying she couldn't resist it. My daughter wanted a Belle costume to wear at the parks, as Belle is her favorite princess. Sasha tried to convince us to get her an Ariel costume instead because Ariel is Sasha's favorite. I explained that we never watched The Little Mermaid at home because my daughter is scared of Ursula. Sasha insisted on taking dozens of pictures with my daughter in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom. She also took some with my son, but nowhere near as many. She tried to convince us to take our daughter to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. We refused because the prices are crazy and we had already bought her the Belle costume. She offered to pay, but we held our ground. I later found out Sasha tried to make a reservation anyway, but there was no availability. When we took our daughter on Slinky Dog Dash, her first roller coaster, Sasha tried to sit next to her. My daughter wanted to sit with me, so we switched. Sasha tried to do the same thing on other attractions. At the Muppets Theater, she tried to get my daughter to sit on her lap. Sasha also tried to pick her up while we met some of the characters. There were more instances. The final straw for me, however, was the last park day of the trip. We were at Magic Kingdom. My husband suffered a minor injury, and I had to take him to the first aid station. The kids wanted to go on the Peter Pan ride, so my dad and Sasha offered to take them in the meantime. However, according to my father, the line was too long. So instead, Sasha suggested the Little Mermaid ride, assuring my kids Ursula was not on it. In reality, there is a pretty big Ursula animatronic there. My daughter was still sobbing and hugging her brother when we reunited. When we flew back home, I told my father that we would no longer take our children on trips with Sasha due to her behavior. He got extremely angry. He said his wife loved my kids, thought about what they would like to do at every moment of the trip, and that we should be grateful to have her in our lives. I lost my temper at that. I told him Sasha was a fucking creep, and that they should be grateful I was still okay with them even seeing my children after her actions during the trip. We ended up having a huge fight after that. It has been weeks since we returned home, and my father is still angry at me and my husband. Sasha has texted me a few times. She says she is sorry if she made me uncomfortable, but that she loves my kids and hoped to use the trip to spend more time with them. To be honest, I do not think I am the a-hole here, but I do think I might have overreacted. I believe there is a chance Sasha's actions were motivated by love and that she truly did have good intentions. Update 1. Hey, everyone. I am ready to give you an update. I read your comments and came to the following conclusion: as much as Sasha's behavior toward my children angered me and freaked me out, calling her a creep was the wrong reaction to have. That said, I think it is best for my family to distance ourselves from Sasha for the time being. At the very least, my previous decision to avoid future trips with her, based on the Disney trip, is still the best course of action. Sasha's pushiness, tendency to override my and my husband's parenting, and blatant favoritism toward my daughter were much worse when the kids were younger. After my daughter's birth, she began focusing far too much attention on her and almost none on my son. I gave more examples of that in the comments on my original post. That is the reason we set boundaries in the first place. Her fixation on my daughter also bothers me. When we had the boundary conversation with my father and Sasha, she told us that she had always wondered what having a daughter would be like. She had also defined herself as child-free before, so I was never certain what to think of that. Either way, that reassured me and my husband that we were doing what was best for our kids. Those boundaries had never been overstepped. Then we went on the Disney trip, and most of them were completely ignored. Many of you pointed out that she might have gotten carried away, or that Disney is exciting and she wanted to make sure my kids had the best experience, etc. There are two things I will say to that. First, whatever Sasha's reasons were, she still overstepped our boundaries. When we first set those, we told her that doing so would have consequences. Disney or not, I do not see a reason to make an exception. Second, she was not trying to ensure my kids had the best experience. She was pushing them to fulfill her fantasy of what their Disney trip should look like. She repeatedly ignored my children's wishes in favor of her own, despite both of them being very clear about what they wanted and did not want. Sasha also continually favored my daughter, including during my son's birthday, and fussed over her in ways that made her uncomfortable, and I still have not forgiven the Little Mermaid incident. My daughter is a bit shy and takes a while to open up to most people, so knowing her trust was broken like that angers me in ways I cannot describe. To put it simply, my children are not props. And whoever treats them as such will, at the very least, be put in timeout. I called my father and Sasha on Saturday. I apologize for calling Sasha a creep, but I told them that we needed some time apart. They will not see my family until my younger sister's birthday in late April. If that goes well, they will be invited to my daughter's 5th birthday party in May. After that, we will slowly work on re-establishing contact. I also said that if they overstepped our boundaries again, the consequences would be more severe. My father did not take it well. I do not care. Sasha sent me a text with more apologies, followed by a request to at least FaceTime my kids every now and then. I said no. And to those who said my controlling behavior ruined the trip, my kids had an amazing time at Disney World. They are both still talking about it. My daughter keeps asking us to put her pictures with the characters she met up on the wall, and my son says he had the best birthday ever. I think that is it. Thank you for your advice and support on my first post. Update 2. Last time I posted here, I mentioned that my father and Sasha would not see my children until my younger sister's birthday. The party took place last weekend, and we did not attend. These 2 months of no contact worked fine, but not great. My father respected my wishes, to my surprise, but Sasha kept trying to find ways to talk to my children. She would call me under the guise of needing to ask me something, only to later say, "By the way, are the kids around? I want to say hi." Every time she tried that, I reminded her of what I had told her back in March. This must have happened almost a dozen times, which was enough for my husband and me to start debating whether we should skip the party. After speaking to our kids, we decided not to go. They both said they missed my father, but clearly did not want to see Sasha. We thought about attending and just distancing them from her while there, but risking making our children uncomfortable was not worth it. My son even asked if we could see their aunt somewhere else, without Sasha around. My husband and I explained the situation to my sister. She was upset, but mostly because she had not seen the kids in a while. We all went to dinner at her favorite restaurant the day after her party. I also called my father and told him we would not go to the birthday party. He reacted better than I expected, but we still had a short fight about it. He claimed that I had promised we would let Sasha see the kids after 2 months, called me unfair, and said he was entitled to have a relationship with his grandchildren. I immediately denied that. Though I tried to sugarcoat it at first, I eventually gave him the truth. My kids do not want to see his wife, and I will not force them to. My father and I had a long talk. I told him how much Sasha's actions during the Disney trip upset my children, as well as how uncomfortable my husband and I felt. I admitted I do not trust his wife at all, and I do not think I ever truly will. He said that while he still thought I was overreacting, he understood I wanted to protect my kids. My dad also told me about how these 2 months of no contact had been for them. Apparently, Sasha started talking about my kids, mostly my daughter, a lot more than usual. She would mention things and places she thought they would like. My father was aware of one of the times she called me, but thought it was a one-time thing. She wanted to give my daughter a gift at my sister's birthday party, though he said he did not know why. At one point, she told him she wanted to plan another family vacation with the kids, even though I had already told them my children would not be traveling with Sasha anymore. Learning all of that just made me more certain that I cannot trust this woman around my children. For now, I intend to remain low contact with my father and no contact with Sasha. My daughter told me she wanted her grandpa at her birthday party a few weeks from now, so I told him he was invited, but Sasha was not. He agreed. To be honest, I do not trust my father after all of this. I am allowing him to come because the party will take place at my home, which is easier for me to control. If he tries to bring Sasha, they will both be kicked out, and it will take a long time for me to consider letting him near my kids again. My father has not told me how his wife is reacting to this. My sister told me that during her party, Sasha asked her to tell me she wanted to talk. I am not reaching out to her, nor do I plan to respond if she attempts to contact me. My husband and I have both blocked her. My children are doing great. They still talk about how much fun they had at Disney. My daughter has been saving money by putting coins in her piggy bank so we can go back. On a completely different note, I am pregnant again. This was completely unplanned. I always said I wanted 2 kids at most, and that a third would have to be a huge accident. But my husband and I are ecstatic. I'm still in the first trimester, so not many people know yet. We are brainstorming ways to tell our kids. Overall, I am happy with my life right now. And as much as I wish this Sasha situation had never happened, I feel like a better parent after dealing with it. I have never been more confident in my ability to protect my children than I am now. I do not think I will update again at any time soon. Once again, thank you for all the support you have given me. I wish you the best. Update 3. First of all, my father did not bring Sasha to my daughter's birthday party back in May. I did not really think he would, since I had made it very clear I would not tolerate that, but I would be lying if I said your comments did not make me a little paranoid. Second, I have just entered my 3rd trimester and the baby will be here in November. The kids are ecstatic. I'm having another girl, but my husband and I are not sharing the sex until she is born. This has nothing to do with our families. It is simply something we also did with our first 2 children. Everyone, including Sasha, knows I am pregnant. We announced it a couple of months ago. I had no problem with my father telling her, though he did ask first. I did not hear much about her reaction, but according to my father, she was happy for me. My children still do not want to see Sasha, and I am still not forcing them to. I have unblocked her and muted her instead, but she has not made any attempts to contact me. We have continued meeting my father without his wife, and I think it has been working out. My relationship with him is not fantastic, but it is much better than it was earlier this year. Last week, I saw Sasha for the first time in months. My cousin threw a party at her house. My husband and I attended, as did my father and Sasha. I knew she would be there, but since the kids were not with us, my son had a sleepover and my daughter stayed with my mom, I did not really mind seeing her. They arrived some time after we did. My husband and I spoke with them for a few minutes, and it was less awkward than I expected. Sasha asked me about the baby's sex, and I told her we were not telling anyone, which again is what we have always done. About 20 minutes later, my father told me they had to leave. I thought it was strange that they were leaving so soon, but I did not think much of it at the time. He called me a few days later, and we spoke for a long time. My father is difficult to talk to, so the following is what I gathered from the conversation. He said they left early because Sasha was holding back tears after seeing me. She was sobbing by the time they got to the car. They later had a discussion about it, and Sasha admitted she wanted children. She married my dad knowing he did not, but hoped he would change his mind. Apparently, when my son was born, Sasha tried dropping hints to my father that she wanted a baby. He did not notice, so she gave up. According to my father, Sasha told him she loved my children equally, but my daughter was special because she had always imagined herself as a girl mom. That is also the reason she became such a suffocating presence when my daughter was a baby. When my husband and I started setting boundaries, Sasha realized she was overstepping and agreed to follow them. To her credit, I think she did a mostly okay job back then, but the favoritism was still obvious enough that my son noticed it. The Disney trip was a turning point because Sasha's dream of having a daughter included taking her to Disney World and doing all the things she liked to do there when she was young. She told my father that having my daughter there was so exciting that she forgot everything I had said about not overstepping. Sasha wanted a mother-daughter trip and tried to use my child for it. Sasha said she regretted her actions during the Disney trip, but only because she lost access to my children because of them. And seeing me at the party, all pregnant and pretty, according to my father, was what pushed her over the edge. I remember reading comments theorizing that this was what was happening, but I still did not really expect it. My father said he was telling me all this because his wife was not doing well, and he would understand if I wanted to keep my kids away from her. I did not expect that either. I do not know what the future of their relationship will be, and I do not think my father does either. All I know is that if Sasha still wants children, it almost definitely will not be with my father. Before all this, I was thinking about my 3rd child's future in relation to Sasha. Now, I sincerely do not want her to be part of my baby's life. This is not a final decision, but I have been speaking to my husband about it, and he agrees with me. I do not think she is a bad person. I got some baby stealer comments on my previous update, but I do not think that is what is happening here either. But if the Disney trip proved anything to me, it is that Sasha is willing to be extremely selfish and disrespectful to get what she wants, even when my children are involved. A couple of months ago, my husband and I had a conversation with our son about the situation. He told us he dislikes Sasha for 2 reasons: she favors his sister, and she does not listen to them. Honestly, that is all I need to know. Looking back at my own childhood, I feel like I was never allowed to have boundaries. I was always expected to put my schedule and preferences aside for others. It is important to me that my children do not go through that. If they do not want to see Sasha, they do not have to. I think that is all I want to say here. I'm doing well. I actually got some great news from work recently. My kids are thriving, and I am excited to meet my third baby. Again, thank you all. Final update. I'm happy to announce that my daughter was born 2 weeks ago. She arrived a little earlier than expected, but she is perfect. My older kids are in love with their baby sister. And as much as I did not plan to have a third child, I am truly glad I did. As I mentioned last time I posted, my husband and I did not announce the sex in advance when our first 2 children were born. This time, I decided to give my father a heads up. After I found out about the whole girl mom situation, I became worried about how Sasha would react to the news that I was having another daughter. Telling my father ahead of her birth would give him more time to prepare. So about a month ago, my father told Sasha I was having another girl. As expected, she did not take it well. A few days after I gave birth, my father told me that he and Sasha were separating. They are not sure about divorce, but he thinks that is where they are headed. Sasha started talking to my father about having children around the time I made my last post. According to him, they started fighting about it when she tried to convince him to reverse his vasectomy. I did not even know he had one. My father said Sasha cried when he told her I was having another daughter, and they decided to separate a few days later. I am not very informed about the situation, but my father did say the decision was mutual. About a week ago, Sasha texted me. It started with her congratulating me on my daughter's birth, then evolved into what seemed like a farewell letter to my children. Not much about it stood out to me, though you will never understand the love I feel for your children was certainly an interesting statement. She talked about how much it hurt to know she would never meet my baby or watch my daughter become a big sister. Sasha told me I had tortured her by keeping my kids away, and that the distance was what made her accept that she needed to be a mother. She deleted the text a few minutes after I finished reading it. I decided not to reply. I have not been thinking much about the situation lately, but the more I do, the dumber I feel for not realizing sooner that Sasha wanted children. I remember she started talking about my father's future grandchildren long before I got pregnant with my son. Her behavior around my daughter, at least before the Disney trip, always felt strange to me, but I still never made the connection. I still do not dislike Sasha, but I think she brought this situation upon herself. As much as I recognize my father is far from innocent, he has always been very clear about not wanting more children. Sasha is 47 years old, and while I do not think I would want to have children at that age, I know people who have. If that is what she wants, then I wish her luck. We are also officially moving to Europe in 2025. The work-related news I mentioned in my previous update turned out to be really, really great. My husband and I had been hoping for an opportunity like this for a while. We are helping the kids make arrangements to stay in contact with their friends. Luckily, my daughter's best friend is also my goddaughter. This will be my last update. I am busy with my baby, and I will definitely have a busy 2025 as well, so I do not plan to write about this anymore. I want to thank you all for the advice, reassurance, and kindness you have shown me. Happy holidays!